everyone, this is Chiwei from One Dog Wolf, and in this video I'll be showing you how to crochet the Tunisian Simple Stitch. For this project I'll be using a little bit of Lion Brand Woolies Thick and Quick. It's a nice chunky yarn with good stitch definition, and I'll be using a Tunisian crochet hook. The size that I'm using is size P, which is 11.5 millimeter, which I found is a good size for the Woolies Thick and Quick. First thing we'll want to do is put a slip knot onto our crochet hook, and right here I'm just holding onto the tail because it keeps hitting the table. Okay, so slip knot onto the hook, and we'll be making 10 chain stitches. Okay, so one thing I want to note while we're here is that if we were going to work single crochets into this and we wanted 10 stitches across, we would have to chain an extra stitch and then work into the second chain from the hook. But in Tunisian crochet, this stitch actually counts, so we're not going to work the extra chain. If we want 10 stitches, we just work 10 chains. And I like to work the stitches into the back humps of the chain stitches. So you can see this is the front with each V, and then on the back you see these extra loops, the third loop, and I like to work in those. So if we want to work into the second stitch from the hook, which would be this one, we're going to turn it around and then work into this back hump right here. And then insert your hook, yarn over, and pull up a loop. But do not pull this one through the first loop on the hook. Just leave both loops on the hook. And then again, insert your hook into the next hump. And then pull up a loop, insert hook into hump, yarn over, pull up a loop, and continue doing this all the way to the end of the row. This is our last hump right here. Yarn over and pull up a loop. So if we did this right, we should have 10 loops on the hook. So that's 5, and there's 5. Okay, so this swatch is going to be 10 stitches wide. That was the first forward loop. Tunisian crochet comes in forward loops where you work down the row to pick up all your loops, and then you're going to work a reverse row to take all the loops off. So let's work our reverse row. We're going to yarn over and complete a chain stitch through this first loop. Okay, and that's a chain stitch. And then from here, we're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops at a time. So we've yarned over, pull through 2 loops at a time. Yarn over, pull through 2 loops. Each time you're going to yarn over and pull through 2. And you're going to work all the way back down the row, and this is your reverse row. Okay, and now we're down to the last 2 loops on the hook in our reverse row. Yarn over and pull through those last 2 loops, and you end up with 1 loop back on your hook. So this was the completion of our foundation row, and regardless of the type of Tunisian stitch, the foundation row is going to be the same. You have to start off with the foundation row. And now what makes things interesting is you have these vertical bars and you have these holes, and depending on what you do with them is how you get the different Tunisian crochet stitches. For the Tunisian Simple Stitch, which is what we're learning today, we're going to take our hook, and we see these vertical bars right here. There's one in the front, and there's one in the back. Okay, so all the way across you'll see There's a bar in the front and a bar in the back. We're going to insert our crochet hook under the vertical bar in the front. We're not going to push through to the back of the work. We're going to keep everything in the front. So you're inserting your hook just under this vertical bar, then yarn over and pull up a loop. And that's it. So you find the next vertical bar. That's the front one. There's the back one that we don't have to worry about. You're going to take your hook, insert it under and up, under that vertical bar, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And you'll continue this all the way across your row. You want to make sure your tension isn't too tight. With Tunisian crochet, it's often helpful to use a hook that's 2 to 3 sizes larger than what is recommended for the yarn. Okay, so we're down to the last stitch, and the last vertical bar is right here. It's at the very edge. Okay, and then, but what we're doing here, because this is the last one, you can see there's a little chain stitch. This is the first one, the first chain stitch that we made on that reverse row. So here, instead of working just under the vertical bar, we're going to work all the way through under that chain stitch, yarn over, and then pull up a loop. And then after every forward row, just make sure you have the right number of loops on your hook. Okay, now we're ready to work our reverse row, and the reverse rows are the same. Yarn over and pull through one loop on the hook, and that becomes your chain stitch. And this chain stitch right here is your last vertical bar. And then from here, you're going to yarn over and pull through 2 loops at a time. All the way down the row, and then when you get to the end, yarn over and pull through the last 2 loops. And it looks really holy when you complete your reverse row. It doesn't actually fill in until you work the next forward row like you did here. Okay, so this is all really holy, lots of big gaps. Let's work one more forward row and reverse row in the simple stitch. So you keep your loop on your hook. You're going to insert, this is the first vertical bar, and this is equal to this loop on the hook. So you're going to take your hook and insert it into the next vertical bar, which is right here. You're going to work it under and up. Yarn over and pull up a loop. Again, you're working pretty much on the surface, and you're not going to be working your hook through the piece. You're just going to be going very shallow right under the vertical bar. Yarn over and pull up a loop and continue across the row. And then when you get to the end, this is the last vertical bar, but we're going to be working through the entire chain stitch, not just the bar. Yarn over and pull up a loop. And make sure you have 10 stitches on your hook. Now for this sample, it's pretty short, so we're able to keep all 10 stitches on the body of the crochet hook. But when you're working larger pieces, this is why you need the longer tail, because you're going to have many, many, many stitches, and it takes up a lot of room. Okay, let's do one more reverse row. Yarn over, chain 1, and then yarn over, pull through 2 loops at a time. Your piece is going to curl at the bottom. That's normal. And then you can block it when you're done and it will flatten out. Okay, so we've done a couple rows of Tunisian Simple Stitch. This is what it looks like once it's filled in. And let me show you how we can finish this off. So again, we're going to take our hook and we're going to insert just under the top bar, the vertical bar right here. And this time, because we want to sort of cast off using knitting terms, we're going to pull that loop through the first loop on the hook like a slip stitch. So insert your hook under the vertical bar, yarn over, pull through and through that other loop. Yarn over and then pull through. And you want to make sure these stitches are nice and loose, just like regular slip stitches, so that the binding isn't too tight. Under, yarn over, pull through the loop. And then again here, insert into the whole chain, yarn over, pull through, and then pull through that last loop. So now you only have, after a forward row, you only have one loop on the hook instead of all 10, but you have been able to bind off your Tunisian crochet swatch. You have the foundation row and then Tunisian Simple Stitch rows above it. And right here you can see we've completed 3 rows, 1, 2, 3, and then bound off with slip stitches. And then from here you can remove your hook, cut a tail, and then pull it through this last loop to bind it off. So this is the front of your Tunisian crochet swatch, and it has a nice grid pattern to it. And then if we turn it around, you can see it's got a lot of bumps and waves, and that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it helpful. And if you did, I'd love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thanks so much.